Exactly what happened yesterday in the Premier League as well over the course of this evening's broadcast, as Akanji pings the ball from right to left into the path of Grealish. Out of the penalty area, he's got Concert for company. Grealish steps inside, crosses the ball in right-footed towards the back post, where Docker was the man he was intending to find, but Zaniolo can watch the ball go out for an Aston Villa goal kick. 3 on the clock, Manchester City 0, Aston Villa 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Well, Aston Villa looking to complete a first league double against Manchester City since 1963. They beat them 1-0 in December at Villa Park in the return fixture. Leon Bailey on the score sheet for Unai Emery's side on that particular occasion. But Manchester City here against Villa have been an almost immovable object. They've won 17 of their past 18 home league games against them, including wins in each of their previous 13 home games. And they're moving forwards here. It was Rico Lewis who was looking to thread the ball in towards the path of Phil Foden, right hand side, around about 25 yards out for goal. Foden found himself, but the touch on his right foot was too heavy, and thus going straight in towards the arms of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal, who plays it short along his penalty area, lays it out into the path of Longley on the left side, who in turn returns it to his goalkeeper. Alvarez just keeping a watchful eye as he lays it out in towards the possession of Diego Carlos. Lays it forward along the right hand side, on back by Morgan Rogers, but City penning Villa back in and penning them back towards their goal line and towards Robin Olsen. Goes out towards Kevin Longley. Now Luca Dino on the left hand side. It's got Rico Lewis for company. Chips the ball up, looking to find Zaniolo, but the ball will run out of play. It's going to be a Manchester City throw-in on the right hand side, and about 20 yards out from goal. Taken by Lewis and back towards Rodri, who's infield from that right hand flank. He's got 2 Villa players up against him, but lays out towards Doku, right hand side, edge of the box, looks to get the crossing on his right foot, sets inside of 2, then makes a nutmeg past Zaniolo, then try to play it back in towards the box again after Villa initially cleared it. But Villa get their lines cleared for a second time, and now look to manoeuvre their way forward. DRB driving down the right hand side, gets the better of Gavardio, then look to chip the ball forward, came off of Diaz, and the ball's going to run back towards Stefan Ortega in the Manchester City goal. If you just joined us here at the Etihad Stadium, 5 minutes on the clock, Manchester City 0, Aston Villa 0, and play's going to stop with Villa player down. Looks like it's John Duran who's headed down towards the deck, which will be of almighty concern for Unai Emery's side, with Ollie Watkins unavailable because of the knock that he picked up against Wolves. Him and Gavardio both going for an aerial duel on the halfway line, and it's the Villa man who came worse off. Back up on his feet, looking okay now. The last thing Aston Villa need is another injury issue. Watkins sidelined by a hamstring issue. Jacob Ramsey and Matty Cash also out for them, and they will have the relief that John McGinn serving his last game of his suspension following the red card that he accrued against Spurs, and so he'll be available for selection for their game against Brentford at home at the weekend. Rodri on the halfway in the middle, lays it out towards Doku, right hand side, 25 yards from goal. Digne chases back and then looks to get past him was Doku, but Digne clips a leg, brings him down, and it's going to be a Manchester City free kick on the right hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. It was a clumsy challenge in the end by Luca Digne, just sticking his left leg out, connects with Doku, and Manchester City have got a set piece in what they'll feel like is promising territory. Both Alvarez and Foden over the set piece for Pep Guardiola's side. One player in the Aston Villa wall. 7 minutes gone, Manchester City 0, Aston Villa 0 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Foden looks the most keen to take on his left foot from the right side, although Alvarez still in the conversation. Villa keep a high line towards in and around the penalty spot. It's Foden's arms that go up, and it's he who takes left footed towards the back stick, but Olsen comes out, makes himself big and catches in the Aston Villa goal. So set piece going a begging there for Manchester City. He lays it out short towards Longley, still inside his own penalty area. Back to Olsen once more. Launches the ball forward out towards the right hand side, where it's mopped up on the halfway by Josko Gavardio on City's left towards the far touchline as we watch proceedings here at the Etihad. Rodri forward towards Lewis, who being kept honest by Douglas Luiz, lays it out towards the bar for Guardiola. Now Rodri out towards Akanji, right hand side, 10 yards inside the Aston Villa half, towards Doku on this near hand touchline, brings it inside, hitting the better of Zaniolo, midway inside the Villa half. Rodri lays it out towards the left. Grealish brings it down first time on his right foot, so elegantly as always. He's got Ezri Konsa up in front of him. Guardiola, now Rodri looking for options, lays it out towards Grealish again on the left hand side. There's a sea of claret inside the penalty area, but he manages to hit the ball through towards Lewis, and it spins back in towards the direction of Alvarez after initial deflection. It's not fully cleared and picked up by Bernardo Silva, left side edge of the box. Oscar Guardiola goes back towards Julian Alvarez. Now Rodri. Alvarez again being put under pressure by Morgan Rogers. Alvarez towards Akanji, 30 yards out for Manchester City in the centre. Rodri chips it up towards the path of Bernardo Silva, edge of the box. Ezri Konsa up against him. Back towards Guardiola. Villa bodies press, going 2 to a dozen at the moment. Grealish, left side with Irogabunam up against him. Steps infield as Grealish. Back towards Rodri, 25 yards out. Steps inside of Morgan Rogers, has an effort at goal on his left foot from the edge of the box towards the near post of Robin Olsen's goal. But he manages to dive down quite easily to his right hand side, the Aston Villa keeper, to comfortably collect and to stop another Manchester City advance. You get the sense that they've got to try and see out the storm here, and there's another chance and an attack here. Ball in the penalty here. Bernardo Silva up against Konsa, laid back towards Grealish, who gets a better Evogaban. 2 up against him. Cross goes in, cleared away by Villa, but quickly one back by Jeremy Doku. Him and Zaniolo in a race for the ball, but it's a City man who wins out and then has to play it back inside his own half, and it goes straight back towards Stefan Ortega between the sticks. Akanji towards the halfway, where Rodri finds himself in possession. It's Phil Foden, Rico Lewis driving down the middle in the centre of the Aston Villa half. Out towards Foden, right side, 30 yards from goal, being chased down by Douglas Luiz. Akanji out towards Foden, right hand side, moves infield, out towards Doku, edge of the box, right hand side, cross goes in, low drilled on his right foot, and then buried by Rodri to give Manchester City the lead 11 minutes in. Business as usual, resumed by the champions, and it is Rodri on the score sheet, unbeaten in his last 63 games as a Manchester City player, and he comes up with his 7th goal of the season and a crucial time of the season. The patience for Manchester City paid off in the end. There's going to be a call as to whether Doku's offside or not. Free of keeping him tight, but he manages to get the cross in, low drilled on his right foot towards the edge of the penalty area, in towards the box, in towards the danger zone, and when danger's lurking, Rodri's usually there, and then side foots the ball in towards the roof of the net to give Manchester City the lead. VAR looking at a possible offside against Jeremy Doku, and in particular they're having a look at the position of Clement Longley as to whether he's the one that plays him off or not, or whether he plays him on or not. You can take nothing away from the finish. Once the ball got to Rodri, first time touch, getting the beating of Robin Olsen, and the goal stands, and Rodri has put Manchester City in front, and you get the sense for Aston Villa it could be a long way back from here. 1-0, Rodri on the score sheet after 11 minutes here at the Etihad. And I'm sure Liverpool, who will be dual screening actions tonight with Arsenal also playing against Luton, would have been looking at that and thinking, oh no. But here comes Villa at the other end. Zaniolo left hand side, almost got the beating of Lewis there. He's got 2 up against him, gets a cross in on his left foot, comes off of Rico Lewis. It's going to be Aston Villa throw on the left hand side, adjacent towards the penalty spot. A concerned look on the face of the Aston Villa manager Unai Emery. As for Pep Guardiola, yet to beat a top 5 club so far this season, they've got themselves off to the perfect start. Digne with the throw-in. Left side, goes long in towards the near post. It's flicked on in towards the danger zone. It pinballs around the penalty area, but eventually cleared away by Foden. But it comes back in towards the mix, and it nearly fell for Diego Carlos. But the ball's going to trickle out of play for a Manchester City goal kick. 13 minutes gone. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0 here at the Etihad. Well, in terms of Manchester City scoring first, in their last 78 Premier League games, they've won 67, drawn 10, and lost just a solitary match. That was that famous game against Tottenham Hotspur here a couple of years ago. Harry Kane coming up with a winner deep into stoppage time. Aston Villa had possession though, 10 yards inside the Manchester City half, goes out in towards the path for Digne on the left hand side, looks to drive forward down that flank in towards the possession of Moussa Diaby, who's up against Lewis, short towards Digne, cross goes in, low drill cleared away by Rodri, the first man for Manchester City. It's going to fall though for Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa in the middle of his half. Crossfield ball in towards the penalty area, and it's a strike on goal by Jean Durand on the half volley. The flag goes up for offside against him, and it forced Ortega nonetheless into a save in the Manchester City goal. Just a little bit too eager in terms of his run, John Durand. And when it came to the strike, it was a decent effort on the half volley. Forced Ortega to parry away. But the acrobatic efforts would have counted for naught even if he did find the back of the net. Just a reminder what else is happening in the Premier League this evening. Arsenal 2-0 to the good against Luton at half-time. Goals by Martin Odegaard, an own goal by Hashioka has given Arsenal that 2-0 advantage. As far as the table's concerned, Arsenal move on to 68, Liverpool 67, and Manchester City would move themselves on to 60. So 68, 67, 67 points now. So the three clubs at the top of the pile will be separated by just a solitary point. Meanwhile, for Aston Villa, they'd be on 59 points on 31 games played, with Tottenham the opportunity to overlap. But City now look to move forward again. This is Rodri, 30 yards out from goal, played short in towards the path of Rico Lewis. Bernardo Silva back to Gvardiol. City being pinned back by Villa, goes out towards Grealish on the left hand side. Konsa up against him, short towards Lewis. Bernardo Silva bears towards the penalty area. Konsa goes to ground, but Silva moves on, not only until referee Darren England stops play for that foul on Ezri Konsa by Rico Lewis. Well, first quarter of an hour gone here at the Etihad. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil. Been a busy programme of action in the Premier League this midweek. 5 games took place yesterday. We'll talk about them in a second as Villa move their way forward. It's Durand driving forward, later the cross, looking to find Morgan Rogers. It goes straight back towards the possession of Stefan Ortega in the Manchester City goal. 5 games yesterday in the Premier League. Newcastle and Everton shared out a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest got the better of Fulham by 3-1. Goals by Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White in the first half, more than enough there. Bournemouth now a few points off the European spots. Got the better of Crystal Palace by a goal to nil, the Vitality. Burnley and Wolves shared out a 1-1 draw. Whilst it was also honours even at the London Stadium. West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Kurt Zouma with the equaliser after Brennan Johnson gave Spurs the lead after just 5 minutes. Meanwhile here, City lead Villa by a goal to nil, and that will look to press for a second. Grealish, left hand side, in towards Silva, in the penalty area, lays it back in towards the path of Alvarez, flicked away by Luca Digne. It's going to fall for Rodri, but his dinked header lacked the venom required, and it's going to be cleared away by Moussa Diaby, although Gvardiol does a great job of recovering and then winning possession back for Manchester City. Reminder, tomorrow as well, we've got 2 more matches. Liverpool against Sheffield United from 7:30 at Anfield. Liverpool looking to extend their lead at the top of the table, whilst at Stamford Bridge at 8:15, Chelsea up against Manchester United. United looking to try and secure European football. For Chelsea, well, the grim reality of only trying to secure a top half finish. Then we'll focus on EFL matters. Friday night, Rotherham United against Plymouth Argyle will be our focus, and you can keep up to date with all the EFL action here on Flash Score. Jeremy Doku, right hand side, 25 yards from goal, moves in field. He heads towards the penalty area. Kanji's on the overlap, but Doku will go alone as a curled effort on his right foot takes a deflection, and it is straight in towards the arms of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. Lays it out towards the right hand side, now back in towards the possession of Carlos. Now long lane possession, played short in towards the path of Douglas Luiz. Lucadinho in possession, back towards Longley again. Now Robin Olsen between the sticks for Aston Villa, lays it out and short towards Diego Carlos. He's with Concert. Carlos penned towards that right hand corner, clears the ball away but picked up almost instantaneously by Gvardiol, who's got Moussa Diaby up against him. Towards a Kanji on the halfway in the centre, short towards Rico Lewis, who just strays inside the Aston Villa half, along the line towards Rodri. Now Rico Lewis, who drives forward, evades the challenge of Duran. Lewis in the middle, Alvarez, edge of the box, now in the D, looking to get past two. He's tripped up en route, but no foul in the eyes of the referee, and now Aston Villa look to move forward with Zaniolo. Lays it along the line, driving forward is Morgan Rogers, shifted out towards John Duran. A sea of blue bodies par their way back. Duran, edge of the box, towards Rogers, towards Duran! It's an excellent Aston Villa goal as they equalise here at the Etihad. And it's John Duran who levels proceedings here for Unai Emery's side. They caught Manchester City napping and then came up with an exquisite equalising goal. Slotted on his left foot in towards the bottom right hand corner. We are level at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Well, City won't be happy with the fact that Alvarez was brought down in the build-up, and then Villa just moved away quickly. Zaniolo in towards the path of Rogers, who drove and drove. Duran looks just onside. It's Ruben Diaz looking as if he strays him on. A little give and go with Rogers, who then first time plays the ball in towards his path, slots it home on his side left foot in towards the bottom right hand corner. Two square proceedings up here at the Etihad, 20 minutes in, and just when you thought Manchester City were beginning to really hammer home with the task, Villa pegged them back level. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. It's good enough for a thumbs up for Unai Emery, but they are checking VAR for a possible offside against Duran in the build-up. It's him against Diaz, the incident in question. Well, they're having a look at the arm of Ruben Diaz, or the shoulder of Ruben Diaz, shall I say. They're looking at a second offside in the build-up when the ball's released by Rogers in towards the path of Duran. I think he'll be okay. Maybe the offending player could be Nicola Zaniolo, who was a few yards in front of him, doesn't touch the ball, but maybe the question will be, did he impact with the view of Ruben Diaz as the ball went in towards the path of John Duran? Well, the question is no, and we have a level game. John Duran equalises. It's Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. John Duran's third goal of this Premier League season, and how that could help Aston Villa's assault towards the top four, and how Arsenal and Liverpool will be looking at that goal with bated breath. Lewis, as Manchester City kick off again. Diaz towards Foden, who wasn't allowed to turn up against Zaniolo. Goes back towards Akanji, towards the path of Diaz. Villa really sensing blood here, really pressing forward on Manchester City, who are being penned back in towards their own half. Goes out towards Akanji on the right hand side, just straying inside opposition territory. Now Rico Lewis, who moves infield along the line towards Rodri. Forward it goes through the middle towards the path of Alvarez. Goes out towards Gvardiol. Diaby tried to intercept but couldn't do so. Grealish into the box, moves inside from the left hand flank, gets the better of Morgan Rogers, shifts out towards Lewis. Doku right hand side, up against Zaniolo on the edge of the box, steps past him, gets a cross in, low drilled on his right foot, but it's a comfortable collection for Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. He went in towards the mixer but nobody could get there. 22 and a half frantic minutes have gone And a been a lapse here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Rodri giving Manchester City the lead in the 11th minute before John Duran equalising on the 20th minute mark. One of 3 live games that we're broadcasting to you this evening on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service as Manchester City win themselves a throw on the right hand side, 25 yards out from goal. Rodri chips the ball up on his right foot from the right flank towards the left. Grealish out of the area. He's got Konsa up against him. Plays it back about 5 yards towards Gavardio. Rodri chips it up again towards Doku. Heavy touch on his right foot, but it's going to fall for Grealish on the half volley, who has a speculative effort. No, he got the beating of Olsen. He thought that there was a touch by the Villa goalkeeper en route. It looks like it's gone for a goal kick. Doku, I think, would have actually been offside in the process as well. And then Grealish has a go on the half volley from inside the penalty area. It looked like there was nothing else really he could do. He's claiming there was a touch by the Villa goalkeeper, and it's tough to say from this angle. But the goal kick is the call. 24 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Akanji up in the air. Forward it goes towards the halfway. On. Now out towards the path of Luca Digne. Forward it goes in towards the path of Duran. Goes back towards Stefan Ortega. Well, Manchester City are kind of becoming draw specialists, or more so than ever in this campaign. They've drawn 7 Premier League fixtures this season. It's their highest total since 9 draws in Pep Guardiola's first season here at the Etihad in 2016-17. Here's Grealish though for the champions on the left hand side in the middle of the City half. Give and go between him and Silva on that far touchline. Grealish back towards Silva. Gavardio, the ball moved back about 10-15 yards. Now closer towards the halfway with Diaz. Out towards Akanji now. Driving forward, Rico Lewis in the middle of the Aston Villa half, laid along towards Rodri, 2 up against him. He's got Morgan Rogers for company. Diaz, Foden, now Diaz again. Rodri, City being forced back, but he finds that out ball towards Doku, which is intercepted by Digne, who flicks the ball out of play for Manchester City throwing on the right hand side, adjacent towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Going to be taken by Rico Lewis. 25.5 minutes gone. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1, the latest score here at the Etihad in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Give and go between Lewis and Alvarez. Short towards Foden, edge of the box, has to turn, intercepted, and now Villa look to move away again. It's Rogers. Plays it out in towards the path of Diaby, right hand side, 5 yards inside the City half, but mopped up well by Josko Gavardio with a crunching challenge, sliding in and getting the ball away for Manchester City. It will be a Villa throw on the halfway out on the right hand side. 26 minutes gone. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Reminder that we will see Liverpool in action tomorrow against Sheffield United. You can listen to commentary of that here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. 7:30 the kick-off time for that one, and it's another busy week across the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. The Premier League will return on Saturday, the early kick-off at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace up against Manchester City, and then we'll have live commentary from 3 o'clock on Saturday of Aston Villa, Brentford, Everton against Burnley, Fulham, Newcastle, Luton, Bournemouth, Wolves, West Ham, and the late kick-off being Brighton against Arsenal. And then Sunday afternoon, Manchester United v Liverpool, Sheffield United v Chelsea, and Tottenham up against Nottingham Forest is the late kick-off at the later time of 6 o'clock, that fixture being moved a few days ago. Akanji for Manchester City though, meanwhile here at the Etihad towards Rodri in the middle. Alvarez goes back towards Gavardio. Diaz on the halfway for Manchester City. Villa doing a good job of containing here. Bernardo Silva looking to find Foden, but it's going to fall for Alvarez. Foden back towards Alvarez. Nice little neat play from City to get themselves out of trouble. Alvarez chips the ball in towards the path of Foden. Does well to get there. Inside the box for City. Back to goal. Free up against him. Back towards Alvarez. Now Rodri edge of the box. Chips it out towards Grealish on the left-hand side. He's got Ezri Konsa for company. Grealish back towards Gavardio. Steps inside of Diaby. Cross goes in towards the back stick. Looking to find Doku, but Zaniolo holds his ground and then manages to get the ball back towards Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. Well, they're looking at the possibility of a handball and actually may have got it back through the hand of Zaniolo, but I think those complaints have been quickly dealt with. 28 minutes gone here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1 if you've just joined us here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Villa clearing the ball away from their defensive right side towards the halfway. Duran being pinned down by Diaz. Fair though in the eyes of the referee. Picked up by Gavardio. Now Diaz once more forward towards Foden. One back though by Aston Villa towards the halfway and out towards Zaniolo. Just inside City's half. He got two up against him. He got Rodri and Lewis lurking. Digne now towards Douglas Luiz on the halfway. His possession again goes in towards the path of Clement Longley and eventually back towards the path of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. Lead along the line towards Diego Carlos. Konsa steps inside from that touchline with Jack Grealish up against him. Back towards Olsen once more and now Clement Longley in possession. Again, Villa not being able to really get outside their 18-yard box, and now Olsen launches it long and direct towards Duran, and Kanji stopping that particular advance in its tracks. This is Rodri on the halfway in the centre. Gets in towards the path of Doku, who turns to his back to goal. Brought down, but no foul in the eyes of the referee. This is Zaniolo for Aston Villa. He's got Digne out towards his left. That's who he finds. 25 yards out from goal. Lewis up against him. Short and back towards Luiz, who's now forced out towards the left. Edge of the box, Zaniolo. Now Digne on the left-hand side. Zaniolo towards the path of Douglas Luiz, who turns, moves it back. Around about 35 yards out from goal now are Aston Villa. Diego Carlos towards Konsa on the halfway on the right-hand side, being put under pressure by Jack Grealish for Manchester City. Alvarez chases down Carlos. Longley. Carlos again inside his own half. Chips the ball forward, out towards the right-hand side. It was a very quick one by Moussa Diaby. The flag stays down for now. Inside the area he goes. Looks to pull it back in towards the path of Zaniolo, but intercepted by the on-rushing Diaz and Rodri back into the path of Ortega. In terms of the match stats so far, Manchester City have had 63% possession compared to Aston Villa's 38, but it is Villa who regained possession after a bit of a toing and a throwing on a physical front towards the edge of the penalty area on the near touchline. As we look at it, the left-hand side is Villa attack. Morgan Rogers committing the eventual foul. Manchester City free kick towards the edge of the penalty area on the right-hand side as they attack. They quickly shifted out towards the left-hand side and quickly shifted in towards opposition territory. Grealish with Silva just in front of him. 30 yards out from goal, moves infield towards the centre. Evades two, evades three. Foden towards Alvarez, edge of the area, but play stopped. Douglas Luiz has gone down, and it's going to be a free kick to Aston Villa. As incensed as Jack Grealish is about the decision, he heads straight over towards the referee down in England, goes straight in towards his grill. Grealish, who of course is playing against his boyhood club, side where he had great success and came to initial preeminence. 185 appearances for Aston Villa, 29 goals in a 9-year period between 2012 and 2021. Made his Premier League debut against Manchester City as an Aston Villa player, as an 88th minute substitute for Ryan Bertrand in a 4-0 defeat in 2014, as he also finds himself in the book for his protestations against that particular decision. Well, just having a look at that Manchester City bench, it's a sort of five-a-side that you would dare not want to see. Stones, Kovacic, De Bruyne, Haaland, Núñez. I don't think you want to be coming up against that. 32 minutes gone, Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. City having taken the lead courtesy of Rodri striking the 11th minute, pulled back courtesy of a 20th minute equaliser for John Duran for Aston Villa. This is Manuel Akanji for City, laid along the line towards Ruben Diaz. 5 yards inside the Aston Villa half in the centre, goes out towards Gavardio, laid back in towards the possession of Stefan Ortega between the sticks of Manchester City. Villa happy just to let him have possession, and then they will press as the ball goes in towards the path of Gavardio. Back to Ortega once more, shifted again out towards the left hand side where Bernardo Silva tracks back in towards his own half. Rico Lewis turns back to goal, 10 yards from the edge of the Villa half, and now later out in towards the possession of Akanji, who drives forward, and just beyond the halfway he moves out towards Rico Lewis, who's being kept honest by Douglas Luiz. Now Ruben Diaz chips it up right footed out towards Grealish. He'll bring it down first time on his left foot for set himself on his right, lays it back to a Silva in the area, chips it across, looking to find Julian Alvarez, who connects more with the head of Clement Longley than he does the ball. It comes back out though for Manchester City, and for Rodri, 25-30 yards out. Lewis towards Bernardo Silva. Lewis again. Grealish turns back to go edge of the box into the path of Rodri in the area. Rodri, he's got options alongside, lays it back towards Lewis on the edge of the box, but it's snuffed out by John Duran. It's going to head out for a Manchester City throw-in adjacent towards the 12-yard penalty spot. Well, it's been pushed back now towards the edge of the penalty area itself. Plays short towards Alvarez on the left-hand side, towards that corner flag on that flank. Rodri plays it back towards Akanji, 30 yards out in the centre, has got space, but now being put under pressure, being forced out wide, doing the defensive job in the end was John Duran, who now looks to begin the Villa attack on the left-hand side. 5 yards inside the City half, towards the path of Rodgers. Duran again, towards the halfway, towards the path of Nucadinha. Now Clement Longley for Aston Villa goes back in towards the possession of Robin Olsen, being put under pressure by Bernardo Silva, and it comes out towards Longley again, forward along the left hand side towards the centre, towards Duran. Him and Akanji involved in a physical encounter with his back to goal, and then also getting involved in a second tussle on the halfway, brought to ground, but referee tells them to get back up, and Manchester City now begin to move their way forward. We're going to get the engines in motion again. Doku skips past Zaniolo, sends it to the floor, inside the air, right hand side, cross goes in, right footed, flicked away by Villa, comes back out towards Rodri, but cleared away by Douglas Luiz. Zaniolo clears the ball out, looking to find Moussa Diaby, but it's going to be headed down by Gavardio in towards the path of Ortega, who comes out, takes command, and then starts the attack again. Gavardio left hand side, advances in towards opposition territory, 10 to the break. Manchester City 1, Villa 1. Ball threaded forward, looking to find Grealish. The heavy pass which can be dealt with by Diego Carlos, and it's cleared away by Villa, only as far as Rodri, who picks up on the loose ball 10 yards inside the Villa half on the left hand side. Rico Lewis out towards Rodri again, being put under pressure by Moussa Diaby. Laid out again, Grealish left side, edge of the box, here up against Ezri Konsa. Grealish steps inside, looked to shape to shoot there, now falls out towards the edge of the D. Rodri along the line towards Akanji. Rodri again 30 yards out from goal. This is Akanji in possession for Manchester City. He's got two claret shirts in front of him. Rodri short towards Foden. He's got Doku out on his right if he wants him. Doku around about 25 yards out from goal towards Foden. Looks to move in field. Zaniolo up against him. Short towards the path of Rodri. Alvarez. Lewis. Alvarez inside the area. Effort on his right foot through the laces. Blocked en route. And it's going to fall for Bernardo Silva, who watches it go for a Manchester City throw on the left-hand side. It's the closest City had come since they've scored. Grealish going to move his way forward. Ball down en route, but Aston Villa get the ball away. Shifted out towards the right-hand side. And in towards the path of Moussa Diaby, who's got Gavardio up against him. Around about 25 yards out now. Morgan Rodgers, a heavy first touch. We see Diaz win it back, but then one back again. Rodgers brings the ball in towards the penalty. A low-drilled cross on his right foot. Headed away by Akanji. One back by Doku, but reclaimed by Aston Villa. A sloppily given away by Rodri, then goes down to the ground. Wins a free kick, which is taken quickly. Bernardo Silva towards Jack Grealish on the half. In the centre, drives down that side. Gets the better of Douglas Luiz. Grealish brought down by him. Tugged on the back of the shirt by Douglas Luiz. And it's going to be a Manchester City free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card for Douglas Luiz's troubles as well. Grealish driving forward down the centre, just tucked in the back through the right hand of Douglas Luiz. Manchester City free kick. We've taken around about 25 yards out from goal as we have a look at a replay of Julian Alvarez's chance. Struck for the lace of his right foot, and then it was a big right boot of Robin Olsen that managed to clear the ball away for Aston Villa. 37.5 minutes gone here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. City with a free kick right towards the edge of the penalty area. It's Julian Alvarez over it for Pep Guardiola's side. Alvarez, who scored 8 goals in 29 appearances so far in the Premier League's campaign. He's had 75 shots on goal. Incredibly. Not even the most in the team. Is he over it? Grealish also lurking around. Having England just given his instructions to the Aston Villa wall as to the do's and don'ts. 5 prized in there. Alvarez eyeing the prize. Referee blows his whistle. Alvarez steps up. Strikes it right-footed, but over the bar. Chance for Manchester City goes a-begging. Well, maybe just a little bit too far out for Julian Alvarez in the end. Couldn't quite get the dip up and down quick enough. A concerned look on the face of Pep Guardiola. Arms folded. A big coat and a big roll-up number tonight. The Doku right-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area, towards Lewis inside the box, made the underlapping run, chips the ball back, flicked away by Aston Villa towards Akanji, who picks it up though for City. Out towards Doku again. Lewis comes back in from an offside position, but the pass is to Rodri. Out towards Doku again, in space on the right-hand side, edge of the penalty area for Manchester City. Alvarez with 3 up against him. We'll get the better of Zaniolo, who's been quite lively for Villa defensively down that left-hand side. This is Diaz though, 20 yards out in the centre towards Lewis. Diaz again. Pretty much everybody in claret and blue is back, and now Foden towards the edge of the box, steps inside, looks to get the shot away, but then big challenge by, here you go, Carlos stops him in his tracks. This is Grealish on the left-hand side with Ezri Konsa up against him, being forced back about 5 yards. Short towards Carvalho, now Rodri 30 yards out from goal. Plays it through in towards the path of Foden, edge of the box, Lewis towards Foden, inside the area, looked to get a step away, but blocked off by Clement Longley and cleared away by Aston Villa. One back by Doku, in the better of Duran, inside the box he goes, in towards the path of Alvarez, looks to get the cross in, it was more of a cross-come shot really, comes off the crossbar, and out of play for a goal kick. 5 minutes to go until the break in what's been quite an absorbing first half here at the Etihad. It's Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Well, Manchester City looking to preserve quite the unbeaten record. They're unbeaten in their last 23 games across all competitions, and that was that 1-0 defeat against Aston Villa. Leon Bailey with a strike, 16 minutes of time at Villa Park, a 1-0 victory for Unai Emery's side. It was around about that time of year, just before Christmas, where Aston Villa were being spoken about as being a part of the title equation. They missed the opportunity to be top of the Premier League table at Christmas, courtesy of a 1-1 home draw against Sheffield United a couple of days out from the big day. As far as the title race is concerned, you can follow every twist and turn. Every single game involving Arsenal, Manchester City and Liverpool are going to be live for you here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. As far as this weekend's action is concerned, you can listen to David Farini bring you Crystal Palace against Manchester City at 12:30 on Saturday, and then Fergal Brennan will bring you Brighton against Arsenal from 5:30 that day, and then Joshua Smith will bring you Manchester United against Liverpool from Old Trafford on Sunday. Bernardo Silva, heavy first touch, 30 yards out from goal, sees Villa regather possession, cleared away by Robin Olsen to beyond the halfway, where Duran was advancing himself forward rather enthusiastically, was brought down for his trouble, still down, clutching his head. And the referee down in England stops play as a consequential result of that. It was him up against Ruben Diaz in the wars, and Diaz just tugging his shirt, and then as he moved away, just kind of caught his hand towards the top of his head. Gives us time to breathe. It's been a first half where we haven't really had time to take stock on what we've seen. Reminder as well that in April we'll be bringing you all the European quarter-finals, both legs of the Champions League games between Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Manchester City, PSG, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid against Borussia Dortmund are live with us, as well as every single quarter-final from the Europa League, plus both legs of Aston Villa's Conference League tie against Lille. 2 minutes to go until the break here. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. You're listening to live Premier League commentary here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Rodri with the opener 11 minutes in before John Duran equalised on the 20-minute mark. Manchester City looking to move their way forward here with Ruben Diaz through the middle. Foden turns back to goal towards the edge of the D, has two up against him. One back by Iwogaman, but it's one back but again by Foden. Out by Grealish, looking to find him again, but play stops for a free kick in Aston Villa's direction. Bernardo Silva committing the foul offence. Well, a concerned look on the face of Unai Emery, a bit of a gritted teeth type look. A couple of substitutes vigorously warming up on the Aston Villa bench. He'll be happy enough if his side can get in level, but maybe you'll feel like there's just a little bit more in the game to be had for Aston Villa. Because on the counter-attack they have had chances and they have had opportunities. As we enter the final minute of normal time here, Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1 is the score here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. City looking to end the half on the high. Doku on the right hand side, short towards the path of Rico Lewis, now towards Rodri, driving down the middle. He's got Lewis and Doku to the right of him. He's got Luis Luiz as his direct traffic. Diaz goes out towards Grealish on the edge of the penalty area as we concert up against him, short towards Rodri. Heavy first touch, has to stretch on his right foot, but manages to get there, but eventually half cleared away by Aston Villa before Foden goes to ground by the edge of the D. Douglas Luiz bringing him down, who's already on a yellow card. Free kick to Manchester City. But the only thing that Darren England brandishes is his vanishing spray. I think Jack Grealish was looking for a little bit more than that. So we've entered time added on at the end of the first half. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1, the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. And we've entered the first of 4 minutes to be added on at the end of this first half. Manchester City with a free kick in a promising position right by the edge of the D. Alvarez and Foden, keen spectators over it. Jack Grealish also entering the conversation, but Alvarez took the last one from similar distance, couldn't quite get the dip up and down perfected, but what can he do with this? Foden also interested, he's also eyeing up the goal. It looks like it's going to be Alvarez to strike. It's actually going to be Foden who goes directing in! And Manchester City have the lead right on the cusp of half-time. Phil Foden on his left foot wraps it round Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal in towards the bottom left-hand corner. And it is advantage City as we head into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1, and it's Phil Foden who comes up with the goods. Initially looked like it was going to be Alvarez who's going to take. It was then left for Foden to deliver, and boy did he do just that, wrapping the ball round with his left foot in towards the bottom left hand corner from the edge of the D, outsighting Robin Olsen, who was left helpless in the Aston Villa goal. Pep Guardiola with celebration up towards the director's box. A goal that Villa will be incandescent in conceding from a set piece with a hole gaping in the wall. Foden in the first minute of the first half stoppage time. He established Manchester City's lead at 2-1. Here's Luca Digne. Villa looking to respond again. And anything that Unai Emery was going to say in terms of constructiveness in that half-time team talk was probably disassociated now. Grealish looking for a third, looking to go for the throat right before the break. Inside the penalty area, there's spaces for Silva to lay it along towards Foden. Cleared away by Diego Carlos in the end, but the flag goes up for offside against Jack Grealish the second time round. Into 3 or 4 minutes added on at the end of this first half. Manchester City lead Aston Villa by 2-1. Remember, Champions League back next week. We'll have the first leg of Arsenal against Bayern and Real Madrid against Man City on Tuesday, and then Wednesday Atletico Madrid against Dortmund and PSG against Barcelona. Both games live here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Meanwhile here we enter the final minute of time added on. Foden driving forward for City towards the edge of the area, out towards Alvarez, who has an effort on his right foot. 2 in front of him from a Villa persuasion, blocked in the end by Luca Digne. It's going to be a Manchester City throw on the right hand side, adjacent towards the penalty spot, taken by Lewis, and now towards Doku, edge of the box. Foden, now Bernardo Silva up against Zaniolo. Foden, Lewis, back to Foden again. Akanji in possession. Foden towards Doku. There will be another minute added on as we enter the allotted quota of 4 due to the free kick and the subsequent goal. Grealish up against Ezri Konsa. Back in towards the path of Gvardiol. Foden in possession. Goes back in towards the possession of Akanji in the centre, 30 yards out. Space for Grealish on this left side. Edge of the box, brings it down first time with his right foot. Inside the box he goes. Steps inside of Ezri Konsa. Now towards Rodri on the edge of the area for Manchester City. Chipped up towards Grealish again. Towards Bernardo Silva, made the underlapping one. Chips it back towards Julian Alvarez, who heads the ball on, but then tips over the bar for a big right hand of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. Alvarez hits it directly with the top of his head from around about 10 yards out. Tipped over the top by Olsen, who had to be double short. And Manchester City are going to have a corner to see out the half on the right hand side. It's going to be Alvarez to take on that right flank. He's going to swing it in on his right foot on the appreciable eye of Erling Haaland. Alvarez's corner. Punched away, parried away by Olsen. And that will be the final action of an action all ends first half. Manchester City find themselves 2-1 to the good at the break. It was Rodri that opened the scoring 11 minutes in before John Duran equalised at Aston Villa following a great breakaway goal by Unai Emery's men. But they were undone right on the cusp of half-time. Phil Foden's free kick in first half stop. Villa 1. break level. And John Duran equalised after Rodri strike in the 11th minute, but Phil Foden's free kick right on the cusp of half time is the difference as we get the second half underway. Manchester City kicking us off, attacking right to left in this second period. Aston Villa left to right in their claret and blue shirts, whilst Manchester City in their sky blue shirts, white shorts and sky blue stockings. In terms of the 11s, doesn't look like there's any changes at the break. Ortega in goal, Luis Diaz, Akanji, Guardiola for City, Rodri, Silva, Doku, Foden, Grealish and Alvarez. For Villa, Robin Olsen came in as a last-minute replacement for Emi Martinez, who was injured in the warm-up. In a 4-4-2, it's Konsa, Carlos, Longley, Digne, Zaniolo, Iwabugam, Luiz, Rogers, Diaby and Duran, the goal scorer. They played the best part of a minute of this second half. Manchester City in possession out on the right-hand side. It's Phil Foden going out towards Jeremy Doku, back towards Foden again. Rodri on the halfway, 10 yards inside Aston Villa territory. This one of 3 Premier League games taking place this evening. It's finished goalless at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford 0, Brighton 0, and Arsenal 2 to the good against Liverpool, playing the end stage of this one. But Villa moving forward in the beginning of the second half. Diaby right hand side towards the edge of the penalty. Guardiola up against him. Diaby with an effort on his right foot, comes off of Guardiola, out of play for an early corner kick for, but actually it's gone for a throw-in. Looks as if it went for a corner for a second, but it's going to go for a throw. In a half of this second half goal, Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1, and it's going to be Enzo Konsa to take the throw-in for Aston Villa on the right hand side as they move forward. Konsa looking ahead to his options, plays it back in towards the path of Iwabugam. Now Diego Carlos shifts it out in towards the path of Luca Digne, edge of the penalty up against Rico Lewis. Cross goes in left-footed, but it's a comfortable take for Stefan Ortega in the Manchester City goal. Comes out, catches with both hands and releases it quickly to Foden, who drives beyond the halfway, gets the better of Zaniolo. Out towards Doku on the right-hand side. Diego Carlos up against him. Foden driving infield, 30 yards out from goal towards Doku in space on the right hand side, inside the penalty area now, has an effort on goal, parried away by Olsen, nearly fell for Foden, then nearly fell for Grealish, but Aston Villa by hook and by crook do manage to clear their lines. Back towards Olsen, who's being chased down, but the ball does go towards halfway. One back though by City and one back by Guardiola. In towards the path of Rodri, who drives forward 5 yards inside the Villa half in the centre. Lewis towards Foden, give and go between them. Douglas Luiz looking to stop that particular rhythm. Lewis brought down. Akanji towards Foden, back to goal, edge of the area, slits through Bernardo Silva, who turns and shoots, and it's a big hand from Robin Olsen to deny him. Well, it was excellent play from Manchester City. Foden turning, evading the challenge at 2, slips it forward towards Bernardo Silva, who's bang on side, has an effort for the laces of his left foot, comes off pretty much the face of Robin Olsen, and out of play it goes. 3.5 minutes this second half gone. Manchester City with a corner on the left hand side. It's going to be swung in on the right foot of Julian Alvarez for Manchester City. Corner goes in towards the near post, flicked away by Zaniolo. He's picked up on the edge of the air by Diaby, who turns his back to goal. Now drives down this right hand touchline, deep inside the Manchester City half. He's got Digne alongside, Grealish keeping chase. Diaby stops the edge of the penalty area, crosses it towards the penalty spot, in towards the path of Douglas Luiz, but cleared away by Manchester City, who now move forward with Julian Alvarez on the halfway, who's got Iwabugam up against him. Alvarez goes to ground. Manchester City win themselves a free kick. 4 minutes of this second half gone. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. Arsenal getting the better of Luton Town by 2-0 at the Emirates. Emile Smith-Rowe impressing as the Hatters of Luton find themselves further embroiled into trouble at the bottom end of the Premier League table. Odegaard and Hashioka with the goals in the first half. The second one, of course, an own goal. Arsenal 2-0 winners against Luton Town. Brighton and Brentford shared a 2-2 draw. So that means, as far as the table is concerned, Liverpool 68 points, Arsenal 67, Manchester City 67. But remember, Liverpool plays Sheffield United tomorrow. Doku right hand side, edge of the air, got Digne and Zaniolo both in front of him. Plays it back towards Diaz, who in turn found Rodri. Now Akanji for Manchester City. Out towards Doku on that right flanker. Again, gets the better of Digne, who looked to get a nibble and got a little bit of a touch, but it falls back in towards Doku's path, who gave Zaniolo the eye. This is Foden, back heels in towards the path of Rodri. Now Doku again with Digne and Zaniolo close by. Rodri steps inside, chips the ball across from right to left, and now Grealish, edge of the penalty area for Manchester City. He's got Silva alongside, plays it towards the middle and towards Rico Lewis, who has to turn close to the edge of the D. Foden out towards Akanji. Foden again steps infield. Everybody back. There's 6 players hogging that last defensive line for Aston Villa. Jeremy Doku towards the edge of the penalty area on that right hand side. Zaniolo comes in to try and chase, but Doku regathers possession, retains possession. Foden then plays it towards Akanji. Diaz towards Rodri. Diaz out towards Foden on the right hand side, driving towards the edge of the penalty area. He steps in field up against Digne towards Lewis, who looks to backheel it back to goal. Inside the penalty area it goes. Rodri goes to ground. Manchester City with a half appeal for a penalty, waved away and then cleared away by Aston Villa and by Clement Longley towards the half. One back by Ruben Diaz, but Manchester City will win themselves a free kick after a bit of fisticuffs. Having a look at the challenge on the edge of the area, but the challenge to one City a free kick was just Duran going a bit too high on Manuel Akanji, grasping his right hand onto the neck of the Swiss defender. Manchester City winning a free kick on the halfway, but instantaneously given back to Aston Villa. John Duran on the halfway out on the left hand side. Foden manages to mop up, clear the ball out for a Villa throw-in on the halfway out on the left hand side. 52 minutes gone here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1 the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Reminder that we'll have Liverpool against Sheffield United and Chelsea against Manchester United live for you tomorrow evening from the Premier League, as Aston Villa give away another foul. Reminder what we saw last night in the Premier League as well, because it's been a bumper round of midweek fixtures. Newcastle Everton shared a 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest got the better of Fulham by 3-1. Bournemouth beat Crystal Palace by a solitary 0-0. Burnley and Wolves shared a 1-1 draw, whilst it also finished West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. This is Grealish for Manchester City on the left hand side, 25 yards out from goal, gets the better of Konsa, steps inside, turning with his back to goal was Foden around 20 yards out. Lewis out towards Doku in space, inside the area, up against Digne, steps inside, has an effort on goal, curls it around on his left foot, but it is straight down the throat of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal. It's probably the most comfortable catch the Villa keeper's going to have this evening. Well, he didn't see any other option on, did Jeremy Doku, which is why he went directly for goal. City move forward again. Alvarez stretching beyond the halfway, goes out towards Grealish left hand side, 5 yards inside the Aston Villa half, and with Morgan Rogers up against it, spaces open up for him, but it's one back by Zaniolo. Doku though makes chase because it wasn't the cleanest of giveaways. It's going to go out of play for an Aston Villa throw-in on the left hand side as they move forward towards the edge of their penalty area. In terms of match stats, Manchester City with 12 attempts on goal compared to the 4 of Aston Villa. 7 of those attempts for City have been on target, whilst the only attempt on goal on target for Aston Villa was John Duran's equalizer in the 20th minute. Still a perplexed look on the face of the Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola, arms folded, but he may be a bit happier here because Grealish finds himself in a promising position. Out to Doku, right hand side edge of the box, skips past Digne, looks to get the cross in, goes back towards Rico Lewis, but stepping out is Douglas Luiz to clear the ball away. And now the ball's threaded through to him from Zaniolo, and the spaces have opened up. Diaby and Duran both making the run. Out towards Duran in space, just Gvardiol to beat. Diaby lays it across in towards the path of Douglas Luiz, who has a first time effort on his right foot, tipped over the bar by Stefan Ortega in the Manchester City goal. It's going to be an Aston Villa corner on the left hand side. 9.5 minutes of this second half gone. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. Well, it's Duran who did all the work, laid out towards Diaby, then threaded across towards Douglas Luiz, who had a first time effort on his right foot, parried over the bar by Stefan Ortega. 10 minutes gone on this second half. City lead 2-1. Luiz with the corner on the left-hand side. He's going to swing it in on his right foot. Everybody attached to the near post. And this is exactly where it goes. It's flicked on by Clement Longley and tipped away superbly by Stefan Ortega. And City then managed to clear their line second time. Incredible goalkeeping by Stefan Ortega. Grealish goes to ground and wins City a free kick, but that's two vital stops by the Manchester City keeper. The first a flick on by Longley from the corner, and then prior to that the opportunity by Douglas Luiz on the counter-attack. But now City look to press home a third. Fewest set-piece goals conceded this season belong to Manchester City. They've conceded just twice from corners or free kicks this campaign. The closest to them is Arsenal, who've conceded just 5 this term. At the other end, Akanji towards Alvarez. Doku right hand side towards the edge of the box. Slips in Alvarez by the dead ball line. Inside the area, goes back towards Doku. Steps infield, inside the area, gets a better with Zaniolo. Goes back towards Rodri, 25 yards out in the centre. Skips past Rodgers. There's 2 up against him. Lays it out towards Alvarez. Lewis inside the box. Back towards Doku. Steps in field. Foden nearby. But then lays it out towards the left. And Grealish inside the area. Steps inside. Has a curled effort on his right foot. Comes off of Ezri Konsa. Comes back towards Doku. Falls for Grealish again on the left-hand side. Towards the edge of the penalty area. Inside the box. They're going to thread it through towards the path of either Silva or Gvardiol. Silva does win it back, but not before committing a foul in the build-up, and it's going to be an Aston Villa free kick, and they can just evade the pressure for now. 57 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Mind, not just the Premier League that we're following with you until the end of the season. We're going to be following the thrilling race for promotion across the EFL, and in particular the Championship, where Leicester got a big 3 points against Norwich on Monday, 3-1. Their winners there. Then a real big game. Ipswich beating Southampton by 3-2 at Portman Road before Leeds beat Hull by 3-1 at Ellen Road. It means that Ipswich lead the way with 87 points from 40 games. Leeds 86 from 40. Leicester 85 from 39, the top 3. And we'll be following the progress of all 3 of those sides this weekend on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. For Ipswich, well, it's the East Anglian derby against Norwich City, who are looking to occupy a spot in the playoffs at 12:30. And then Leeds United, well, they make the trip to another playoff chasing side in Coventry City from 3 o'clock, whilst Leicester City host their Midlands rivals Birmingham City. Kick-off in that one at the King Power at 3 o'clock. You can follow all the goals from those 3 games, as well as every game from the EFL, including Leagues 1 and 2, across the Flash Score app, which you can download via the Apple App Store or via Google Play, wherever you get your apps from. Meanwhile here, Erling Haaland is warming up to come on. I'm sure that's the last sight that Aston Villa fans who occupy a small corner to the right of us want to see this evening. Jeremy Doku in possession, goes back into the path of Akanji, 5 yards inside the Aston Villa half, being kept honest by Rodgers. Goes out towards Diaz. Now Foden, Rodri, short towards Rico Lewis, steps inside. Foden turns back to goal, 25 yards having goal, edging inside the penalty area in the middle, dances past 2, dances past 3, couldn't get the shot away, falls for Bernardo Silva. He gathers, then look to play it out towards Grealish on the left hand side in the box. Foden still down as Villa look to get the ball away, and the ball they do get away, and towards the halfway they go with Douglas Luiz. Zaniolo out on the left hand side towards the edge of the penalty area, only Diaz to beat. Zaniolo has an effort at goal, comes straight off of Diaz. It's Rodgers they were hoping it was going to fall to, but it is Doku who regathers possession for Manchester City. 59 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. The score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Reminder that this weekend you can follow the 3 teams in the race for the title live with us. Manchester City go to Crystal Palace at 12:30. David Farini bringing you commentary of that one. Virgil Brennan will bring you Brighton against Arsenal from 5:30. And then on Sunday afternoon, Joshua Smith will have Manchester United up against Liverpool live for you from 3:30. You can listen to all 3 of those games with you here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary show, as well as Aston Villa, Brentford, Everton, Burnley, Fulham, Newcastle, Luton, Bournemouth, Wolves, West Ham, Sheffield United v Chelsea, and Tottenham Hotspur up against Nottingham Forest as we approach the hour mark here at the Etihad. Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 1. Rodri opening the scoring for City before John Duran levelled 9 minutes later. Phil Foden's goal from a free kick right on the cusp of half-time. The difference between the two sides here. It's Aston Villa in possession on the halfway with Diego Carlos short in towards the path of Douglas Luiz. Now Clement Longley on the half on the left-hand side. Luiz with Foden up against him. Threads it through the middle in towards the path of Rodgers, out towards the left-hand side. Digne, first time crossing, left-footed in towards the penalty area, but straight in towards the thankful arms of Stefan Ortega, who releases the ball first time towards the path of Bernardo Silva, who finds himself on the halfway, shifts it out towards Jeremy Doku, who drives forward down that right-hand side, 25 yards out from goal, moves in field towards the edge of the box, give and go towards Foden. Doku inside the area, up against Clement Longley, being forced out wide and forced back in towards the path of Rodri, 25 yards out, chipped the ball in towards the path of Grealish, inside the area, up against Ezri Konsa, cleared away by him. And he looked to play the ball in the box, Grealish. One back by Gavardo, gets the better of Duran. Left side, edge of the penalty area. Konsa comes out, makes himself interested. Grealish out towards Rodri now. Rodri in the middle here for Manchester City, 25 yards out, steps his way pass through to Diaby and then in towards the back of the net, and Phil Foden with his second of the evening from in and around 12 yards out, slots it home first time, side-footed in towards the bottom right-hand corner. He heads straight over to the substitutes, and the first person to give him a hug, Erling Haaland. 61 and a half minutes on the clock here at the Etihad. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1, and Phil Foden at the double, and those two goals may have just sunk Aston Villa. Well, it's a goal that's been coming. Rodri skipping his way in the end past Moussa Diaby, lays it off towards Foden on the edge of the penalty area, who then makes a darting run in towards the penalty spot, and then side foots it home first time on his left foot, coming off the post and in towards the bottom right hand corner of the net. A point of acclaim from Pep Guardiola towards him, and an embracing hug by Haaland, Stones and De Bruyne. That's not bad company to get some recognition from. 62 and a half minutes score, Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1 here on the Flash Score live audio commentary service. Phil Foden with his 12th Premier League goal of the season, and Aston Villa are going to make their first change, and it's going to see Douglas Luiz replace his captain's armband move towards the shoulders of Ezri Konsa, and he's going to be replaced, and Yuri Tielemans is going to come on as well for Aston Villa, as well as Leon Bailey. It's a treble change for Aston Villa, it looks like. Foden then in the 62nd minute, making it Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1. Villa, who have kept themselves so stout and so tight, have been undone just when they were threatening on the counter towards the second equalising goal. City have just put their foot to the throat. Rodri out towards the path of Foden on the right hand side in the middle of the Aston Villa half. We will confirm those substitutions for you in just a second. There's Bailey's, Tielemans and Chambers on. Leon Bailey scored the winner for Aston Villa in the requisite fixture, but City looking for a fourth here. Jeremy Doku plays it short towards Rico Lewis. Inside the area on the volley through the laces of his right foot, but it goes around about a yard or two wide of goal. You're listening to Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 3 from the Etihad Stadium here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. 65 minutes on the clock in this encounter. Manchester City would go within a point of leaders Liverpool with a victory here this evening. Here's Grealish on the left-hand side for Manchester City towards the edge of the penalty area. This is Lewis towards the edge of the box. Ball to ground by Morgan Rodgers. Aston Villa do in the end manage to clear their lines away. One back though by Rodri for Manchester City. I can confirm it was Boogum who came off for Bailey, whilst Tielemans comes on for Moussa Diaby. And Callum Chambers came on for Douglas Luiz. So those are the three Villa changes, just to update you there. And City with possession with Manuel Akanji 10 yards inside the Aston Villa half. Laid along the line towards Jack Grealish. He's got Gvardiol and Bernardo Silva out towards his left. Gvardiol's who he's found. Rodri goes out in towards the possession of Ruben Diaz now for Manchester City. Rico Lewis driving forward. And now out towards the right hand side and towards Jeremy Doku with Luca Digne keeping close protection. Doku brings it inside, gets the better of Zaniolo. Played in towards the possession of Josko Gvardiol. He's got Grealish out towards his left. He's got Silva short. He's got Rodri short. Rodri's the option. Chips it up, looking to play in Bernardo Silva, but one back by Aston Villa. Goes out towards the path of Bailey, right hand side. Now in towards the possession of Chambers. Shifted out towards the left and towards Luca Digne. Now towards Clement Longley. Ezri Konsa for Aston Villa. One back though by Grealish in the middle of the half, driving through the centre, bearing in towards the box, goes out towards Silva, inside the penalty, pull back towards Rodri, takes a touch, then has a shot with his second on his left, cleared away by Aston Villa, blocked initially, and now ball away by Morgan Rodgers. Towards the halfway, towards the path of Bale on the right hand side, look to evade the challenge of two, but it's one back by Foden on the half. Manuel Akanji in possession here for Manchester City. 67.5 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Josko Gvardiol goes back towards the halfway and in towards the possession of Ruben Diaz. Gvardiol again. Foden going to play its way forward towards Bernardo Silva, but it's going to head back in towards the path of Robin Olsen in the Aston Villa goal, who had the late call-up with Emi Martinez injured himself in the warm-up. He's had a hard day's work. Final third passes, 204 Manchester City, 26 Aston Villa. Which kind of summarises the tough night that Olsen has had. Diaz back in towards the path of Akanji in the centre, 10 yards inside the Aston Villa half. Forward again towards Alvarez. City just happy to pitter-patter around the ball now. This is Jack Grealish, short towards the path of Gvardiol, who has two claret shirts in front of him, and it just begins to get to the phase now where you just get the sense that maybe there's a resignation towards this game from a Villa perspective, as Foden's brought down beneath the arm of Clement Longley towards the edge of the box. It's one back by Foden, who's on a hat-trick and scores a hat-trick emphatically by thundering the ball home into the roof of the net from just inside the D. It's a hat-trick for Phil Foden, and that should round off the 3 points for Manchester City with 20 minutes to go. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1. It's a hat-trick for Phil Foden. The celebration to the crowd, the point to the crowd, and the point should be wrapped up now. Rodri slipping through Foden, who originally went down to ground. City couldn't clear their lines, and it was Foden who won the ball back. Had an F on goal. He actually slipped as he unleashed it through the laces of his left foot. But boy, did the ball fly in towards the top right-hand corner, past the helpless Robin Olsen. in the Aston Villa goal. (4-1) Manchester City. And Aston Villa make another change. And it's going to be Alex Moreno that's going to come on for the final 20 minutes. It looks like it's going to be damage limitation now as far as Aston Villa are concerned. They still give a good go and good account of themselves moving forward, but the ball's going to fall straight in towards the path of Stefan Ortega between the sticks for Manchester City. And it's John Duran, the goal scorer for Villa, who has been sacrificed for Moreno as City go searching for a fifth. Grealish, and the goals difference could be so important in such a tight title tussle. Back towards Foden, who's already got 3 on the night. In towards the path of Rodri, who wriggles past Moreno, who's just come on the field. Foden around about 40 yards out from goal, chips it out towards Grealish, brings it down first time on his right foot, left side towards the edge of the penalty area, brings it back towards Gvardiol. Foden towards Gvardiol once more, onto the halfway line where Ruben Diaz has possession on the left-hand flank for Manchester City. Plays it short towards Gvardiol. Everybody back now for Aston Villa, but they still couldn't quite get past Foden. But then Tielemans manages to track back, block off the supply line, back towards Olsen it goes in the Aston Villa goal. Reminder of the table at the top. Liverpool 68, Arsenal winning tonight on 67. Manchester City looks set to join them on 67 points. Remember, Liverpool play Sheffield United tomorrow at Anfield. That game live here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service from 7:30. Meanwhile, Bailey for Villa, right side, edge of the penalty, plays it in towards the box, towards the path of Rodgers, being shown out wide towards the dead ball line. Manchester City do manage to clear their lines. Brought down though again by Villa on the right hand flank towards the path of Bailey once more. Silva slips and allows the ball to be played through. Tielemans towards Chambers. Villa though being penned back towards the halfway. Goes out towards Luca Digne, short to Cannon Chambers. 72.5 minutes on the clock. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1 the score here. Rodgers slips the ball through, looking to find Zaniolo, who's probably been as lively as anybody on the pitch this evening for Aston Villa, who felt as if they should have gone in towards the break level, but Phil Foden's free kick in first half stoppage time set the wheels in motion, and from there, well, it has been the Phil show. City think the points are safe. Rodri in possession, right hand side, 5 yards inside the Aston Villa half. In terms of goal difference, 68 for Arsenal at the moment, plus 48. Liverpool 67 plus 40. City 67 plus 38. So they have room to manoeuvre and they need to make up on that front. Grealish towards Bernardo Silva, mocked up by Leon Bailey for Aston Villa on the right hand side. Forward it goes. Ruben Diaz in possession, goes back towards the path of Akanji. Zaniolo down on the ground for Aston Villa, but play goes on. Foden out to Grealish on the left hand side, inside the penalty area, up against Tielemans, flashes it across goal. Alvarez was lurking at the back stick, but he just couldn't push his body in and around it on time. Now the play it goes, and Zaniolo still on the ground for Aston Villa. 74 minutes gone. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1 the score here at the Etihad in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service, as City make their first changes of the evening. It's going to see Mateus Nunes and Mateo Kovacic come on. Rodri, first player to be replaced. It was he who started the evening scoring for Manchester City, and it's going to be the two-player midfield pivot that will be replaced. Bernardo Silva, the other player to come off. Mateo Kovacic and Mateus Nunes both coming on. for the final quarter of an hour of play here at the Etihad. Where Manchester City lead Aston Villa by 4-1 here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. They will go within a point of now league leaders Arsenal, although Liverpool will change that fact tomorrow night if they can get the better of Sheffield United, which you can listen to here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Adam Marsden will be bringing you commentary of that one, as it looks like Zaniolo's game's going to come to an end. He's gone down to the ground for a second time. He's put in a real sprint and a real shift for Unai Emery's men this evening, but it looks like it's going to be the end of his night. Villa have used 4 of their 5 subs. They've still got 1 remaining, and they're going to have to use it here on Nicolo Zaniolo, who's had his critics at times, particularly for his disciplinarian issues. 4 bookings in his last 7 appearances for club and country combined. But replays being shown on the screens of Phil Foden's hat-trick for Manchester City. The first, a free kick right on the cusp of half-time. The second, 62 minutes in. And then the third, well, it was a sumptuous strike on his left foot just inside the penalty area. The second, a lovely little pass from Rodri in towards his path on the edge of the penalty area. Tucked it home first time. Meanwhile, Aston Villa will make their final change. Zaniolo's going to depart us, and coming on in his place is Omari Kellyman, making his first Premier League appearance. The 18-year-old born on the 25th of September 2005. If that doesn't make you feel old enough. Product of the Aston Villa Academy, and Jack Grealish made his debut for Aston Villa against Manchester City. Who knows what could come of that? Constance inside the penalty area, shoved to the ground. No penalty in the eyes of the referee, Darren England, as City manoeuvre their way forward. Nunez to the back hill, but straight into the path of Yuri Tielemans, but City with a player down, and it'll be a free kick as a consequence of that. Just having a look at the penalty ends here. Concert brought to ground by Mateus Nunes. A little bit of a shove from the Manchester City man. There are the types of penalties which you have seen given in the past, but not on this particular occasion. But as far as Aston Villa are concerned, when it's not your night, it's not your night. Remember, thrilling end to the Championship season, which we'll be bringing to you live on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service, just like on Monday, where Ipswich Town got the better of Southampton by 3-2. As Rico Lewis has the ball for City towards Foden, who's looking for a fourth. Inside the area, he's got 4 up against him. They're quadruple marking him. They're quadrupling up on him. And Villa following a great breakaway goal by Unai Emery's men, but they are undone right on the cusp of half-time. Phil Foden's free kick in first up against him. Also keeping close chases, Alex Moreno for Aston Villa. Goes back towards Foden once more. This is Ruben Diaz now for Manchester City. Akanji on the right-hand side. City now pretty much just toying with Aston Villa. But real intriguing game, as you said. We brought to you on the Flash Score service on Monday. Ipswich Town 3, Southampton 2. This is Mateus Nunes. He's going to have an ever from distance on his right foot from around about 25 yards out in the centre, but it flies over the bar. Gives us a chance to talk about that coverage after Manchester City make 2 more substitutions, and it's going to be a standing ovation for Phil Foden, who got a hat-trick on the night. His night's work's done. Jeremy Doku has been a real focal point on the right-hand side, and he's also going to depart for Manchester City. Foden claps his hands all around the ground. Jeremy Doku has also departed the scene, and Foden touches hands with Oscar Bob, who will come on for the final 10 minutes or so that remain here at the Etihad. Also coming on, he's going to be Sergio Gomez for Manchester City. And we do enter the final 10 minutes, City leading by 4 goals to 1. Then it's that hat-trick man, Phil Foden, who made all the difference for Manchester City. They went a spot of bother going into half-time. His free kick right on the cusp of it, beginning the train in motion. And in the second half, really, it's been a Manchester City possession, if the truth be told. Back it goes towards the path for Stefan Ortega with a Manchester City goal. Final 9 minutes or so to be had here. Line of our EFL coverage. We will now talk about said game as Rico Lewis goes down to the ground. If Davies gave Ipswich the lead against Southampton before Shea Adams equalised a minute later, Adam Armstrong put Southampton in front in the 23rd minute before Board headed with an equaliser midway through the second half in the 68th minute, and then Sarmiento with a late winner for Ipswich Town, and then 7th minute of injury time basically came off him and then in towards the back of the net. And so Ipswich will top the pile from Leeds United and Leicester City. And you can follow the Championship action to its crescendo here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Title rated in both the top tier and the second tier in England. You can follow here on Flash Score. Akanji on the right hand side goes out in towards the path of Sergio Gomez, back in towards the path of Oscar Bob, who plays it short towards Rico Lewis for Aston Villa. 8 minutes to go. City leading by 4 goals to 1 here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. A reminder, the games involving each of the top 3 at the weekend are live with us. More on that in just a second as Lewis has possession. Right hand side being chased down by Chambers. One back by Gomez inside the area. Oscar Bob looking to weave his way past Digne, but he manages to block off the supply line. The ball run out of play for a Aston Villa goal kick. 82.5 gone. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1. Remember, we will have the top 3 at the weekend in action for you. Manchester City away at Crystal Palace from 12:30. Arsenal away at Brighton at 5:30. And Manchester United against Liverpool from 3:30 this weekend in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Then next midweek we have European action for you. Tuesday the first leg of Arsenal against Bayern Munich, and then Real Madrid against Manchester City, and then Wednesday Atletico Madrid against Borussia Dortmund and PSG against Bayern Munich. We'll then have all 4 Europa League quarter-final first legs for you on Thursday, as well as the first leg of Aston Villa's tie against Lille at Villa Park in the Conference League. Follow all of that here on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service, and the best way to do so is by downloading the Flash Score app, which is available via the Apple App Store or via Google Play, wherever you get your apps from. Well, a lot of the Villa fans are making the trip back, looking to see, with the kickoff being 8:15 in the UK, whether they can actually get one of the last trains back from Manchester Piccadilly down to Birmingham New Street. It's Grealish, the former Villa fan's favourite, who wins a free kick, was being chopped up by both Leon Bailey and Omari Kellyman. Manchester City find themselves with a free kick in the centre, around about 35 yards out from goal. It's going to be Mateo Kovacic to take for City, who are looking to become the first side in Premier League history to win 4 consecutive titles. An unprecedented achievement, but this is an unprecedented team. Mateus Nunes in towards the path of Ruben Diaz in the centre on the halfway, shifted out towards Akanji on the right hand side. Rico Lewis in possession now for Manchester City. Kovacic on the halfway, being chased down by Kellyman. Out towards Akanji again, short towards Rico Lewis. Trying to play in Bob, but it's one back by Tielemans for Aston Villa, being pulled down by Manuel Akanji. Free kick to Aston Villa, 10 yards from the edge of the Manchester City half in the centre. Perhaps not a surprise that the designated player of the match award has gone by way of Phil Foden. Don't think there needed to be 2 much thought put into that particular process. 5 minutes ago then, here at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City lead Aston Villa by 4-1. It was Rodri that got the scoring started 11 minutes in, tapping home from close range from inside the penalty area. Then John Duran, following a excellent move from Aston Villa on the counter-attack, levelled up 20 minutes in. It looked like it was going to be level going into the break, but then Phil Foden with a free kick from the edge of the penalty area made it 2-1, and he then really do the damage in the second half, getting the second just past the hour mark after a little give and go from Rodri, after Villa was showing signs of maybe getting a second equaliser, for then the third, a thunderous strike in towards the roof of the net, 20 minutes on time. And that is where we and how we occupy ourselves here at the Etihad. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1. The score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. It's as we concert to take a throw in for Aston Villa on the right hand side, midway inside the Manchester City half, goes back towards Diego Carlos on the halfway, along the line towards Clement Longley, who's being chased down by Oscar Bob and has been forced to retreat the ball all the way back towards his goalkeeper Robin Olsen. Played short but given away, and one back by Oscar Bob in towards the penalty area, but the first touch on the right foot of Julian Alvarez was just too heavy in the end. Villa do manage to clear their lines. Moreno forwards in towards the path of Rodgers, who has the ball on the left hand side. Ruben Diaz up against him, chips the ball out from left to right in towards the path of Bailey inside the box. Mateus Nunes up against him. Bailey steps inside in towards the path of Kellyman, who has an effort on goal on his left foot, blocked by Akanji. It's going to fall for Digne, and now Tielemans for Aston Villa, chasing backwards Alvarez. Out towards Ezri Konsa on the right hand side, 25 yards out from goal. Chips the ball in towards the box, towards the near post, but it's going to be a comfortable collection for Stefan Ortega in the Manchester City goal. 3 minutes of normal time to go. City leading Villa by 4-1. And it will continue their unbeaten run to 24 across all competitions since Aston Villa beat them in the reverse league fixture here at the beginning of December. Villa do win the ball back on the halfway in towards the possession of Chambers. On the half he has possession again, out in towards the path of Diego Carlos here. Just over 2 minutes to go. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1. Now towards the right hand side and back towards the path of Ezri Konsa. Diego Carlos along the line towards Clement Longley, goes out towards Luca Digne on the left hand side. On the halfway for Aston Villa, goes back again towards the path of Yuri Tielemans. Chambers goes out towards Diego Carlos. Ezri Konsa now, Carlos again. Just out towards the left hand side. Villa losing out, and one back by Julian Alvarez for Manchester City. Forward towards Grealish, edge of the area on the right hand side, has an effort on his right foot, comes off Callum Chambers. One back by Bob towards Gomez, but it's a loose lack pass, and Villa managed to pick up and pounce. One back by Bailey, who steps past the challenge of Gavardio, then slips as he strays beyond the halfway, and Gavardio recovers to win the ball back for Manchester City. Nunes towards Akanji on the halfway, chips the ball out, right-footed, out towards the left-hand side towards Grealish. Edge of the penalty area for Manchester City. He's got Alvarez in the box. He's got Bob in the box. It's going to fall eventually for Alvarez. Olsen comes out. Alvarez from the acute angle looks to try and have an effort on goal on his left foot, but then Olsen then gathers the ball, gets it with one hand, and then manages to catch second time. It's under a minute of normal time to go. Manchester City lead Aston Villa by 4-1 here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. Well, it's been a season of vast improvement for Aston Villa, even if tonight may not feel that way. They've won as many games this season as they did last season with 18, and won also 12 points up from their 30-game total last season. as they enter the penalty area again, watched out by Rico Lewis, and Aston Villa are going to have a corner here on the left-hand side as we enter stoppage time at the end of the second half. We enter time beyond the 90 here at the Etihad. Manchester City 4, Aston Villa 1, the score here in the Premier League on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. We've entered the first of 4 additional minutes here at the end of the second half at the Etihad. It's going to be Aston Villa with a corner out on the left-hand side. It's going to be swung in right-footed by Yuri Tielemans. Again, everybody hogging that near post for Aston Villa. Ball swung in though towards the back stick, in towards the path of Alex Moreno, who was left unmarked, but he just couldn't quite get his footing together. Tried to have a go at the volley on his right foot, just couldn't get a clean connection, hardly got a connection at all. If he found it cleanly, I think it would have found the roof of the net, and I think we would have had a consolation for Aston Villa, but perhaps that just sums up their evening here at the Etihad. There's been huff, there's been puff, but there's, when it's come to the crunch, nothing tangible. Unai Emery just looks around, looks in real surround. Reminder that we will be bringing you a full card of Premier League action this weekend on the Flash Score Live audio commentary service. We begin on Saturday afternoon, where we will watch Manchester City in action against Crystal Palace from 12:30. Our 3 o'clock offerings: Aston Villa, Brentford, Everton, Burnley, Fulham, Newcastle, Luton, Bournemouth, Wolsey, West Ham, Brighton v Arsenal, the late kick-off, and then Sunday, Man United, Liverpool, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and Tottenham, Nottingham Forest are our 3 live games for you from the Premier League. Well, Villa give the ball away sloppily to Grealish. Inside the penalty area he goes. Grealish steps inside, backhills it towards Alvarez, but blocked off well by Ezri Konsa for Aston Villa. Cleared away, but won back by Gvardiol, 25 yards out. Steps past Bailey. Inside the box, Gvardiol is on the left-hand side. Plays it across the frame of goal towards the path of Sergio Gomez, who on his left foot had the simple task of putting the ball home, but could only hit the post. I think also expected the net to ripple, and from close range, around about 12 yards out, Sergio Gomez can only hit the post. 90 seconds for Villa to endure. The Etihad emptying quite quickly. The away end in truth had been empty for the last 10 minutes or so. The home quarters now satisfied with what they've seen, and so we just play out to a finish here at the Etihad for the final minute or so that remains. Grealish inside his own half on the left-hand side has 2 up against him, 1 back by Villa. It's going to be a throw-in taken quickly by Moreno, looking to find Bailey on the right-hand side. As far as Aston Villa are concerned, well, they still find themselves 2 points above Tottenham, but Tottenham do have a game in hand, and so that race for top 4 will take another twist. 5th place may well be good enough for a place in the Champions League next season under the revamped format, as Callum Chambers is going to pick up a booking after bringing down Jack Grealish on the halfway, barging him with his left shoulder. So a yellow card for the Aston Villa substitute there. Final 30 seconds of stoppage time. Manchester City free kick on the left-hand side, 5 yards from the edge of the Villa half. Josip Gvardiol plays it short towards Kovacic, who has possession again after a quick give and go with Ruben Diaz, who now finds himself on the ball again, out towards the right-hand side, in towards Akanji. Forward beyond the right-hand side, Sergio Gomez with the ball, but it is City with the points as they continue to crank the pressure on Arsenal and Liverpool at the top of the league table. It was a fantastic Foden hat-trick which has sealed the points for the champions. Aston Villa, well, they thought they were going to go into the break level. Rodri had opened the score in 11 minutes in with a finish inside the penalty area. John Duran finishing off an excellent Aston Villa counter-attack to level 20 minutes in. And then the Phil Foden show began. City with a free kick right at the end of the first half. It was a silly foul for Douglas Luiz to give away on the edge of the box, and then Foden did the business. Free kick in towards the bottom left-hand corner, put him in front going into the break. And then in the second half, it was all about the champions. It was all about Foden. The second one, after a